Hello, and welcome to another episode of Old Mate's Adventures. Today, I'm pretty keen to go on an adventure to try and find some blue claw crayfish. I've identified a waterhole that I want to try and get to. This is a map of Queensland. Down this way, we have Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast. A little further north, we have Gurry Island, otherwise known as Fraser Island. Harvey Base, it's just here. This is Bundaberg. Where I want to go to is right in here. There's this little patch of green, and it's called the Littabella State Forest Reserve. You access it off Monduran Road, and this map shows that there's these old tracks that make its way through the forest. And where I want to get to is right down the bottom corner here. This map shows, it's actually marked on this map, this little dam that I want to get to. And when you turn the satellite image on, you can indeed see that there is some sort of little lagoon there that I want to go and investigate. I'm not really sure how well established these tracks are, how overgrown they are, how far I'll be able to get to on motorbike before I'll have to pursue on foot, and I'm not sure whether there's going to be any yabbies in that water hole at all. Stick around and we'll find out. Also, on today's episode, we'll have a look at a waterproof tarp that I made from a bedsheet, and we'll cook up a salty snack on the fire in a billy. So since my last episode, I've been looking into the rules and regulations about visiting these state forests and national parks and whatnot, and got in contact with the Queensland Parks and Wildlife Services. And yeah, so it turns out you are allowed to access any of these state forests. There's no concerns there. Even if they are leased for grazing cattle, they have to allow public access onto the state forest still. So you're allowed to, as long as you stay on the established tracks as far as the motor vehicles go, and then if you want to go any further than that, you just have to pursue it on foot. But you can't have fires and you can't cut down any vegetation. It makes it a bit restrictive when you're trying to make a YouTube channel. That includes a bit of bushcraft and cooking over a fire and that sort of thing. But I looked into it a little further, and it turns out that any parcel of land where the tenature is considered reserve land, that's actually not governed by Queensland Parks and Wildlife Services, it's governed by local council. I got a hold of my local council and inquired about a few different reserve blocks, and they said that it's okay to have a small contained fire, and they're going to get back to me on whether you can cut down vegetation or not. So that was the bonus that's come away from it, or the plus side, is that you can still do some bushcrafting stuff on state land. It just has to be reserve land rather than forests or national parks and that sort of thing. That's what I learnt this week. I think these areas here that I've found, these little clearings, is where an apiary has somehow got an arrangement with local government to be able to put out some beehives and collect pollen and essentially honey. And there must be the end of the season, or they must have collected as much pollen as they can from the area, and they've packed all the bees up and taken them away. So there was two areas like this, and the roads were actually quite well maintained into these areas. But as soon as you got past them, it's where the track became overgrown. If you're not too familiar with the motorbike scene, the bike that I ride here is a Suzuki DRZ 400, and they're just ideal for adventure riding and doing exactly this sort of thing. They're nice and light. If you going down these trails that are quite overgrown and you get a bit stuck, you can easily just jump off them, rock them back and forwards, turn around and get going again. If you drop them on the ground, they're not that heavy to pick up. But they've still got plenty of get up and go. They still sit on the highway at 100 kilometres an hour, no worries. And these bikes have been the exact same bike since either 2000 or 2003, right up to 2024. The exact same bike. There's been tens of thousands of these sold worldwide. They've just got a reputation for being super reliable. And if you got the bike and you want to go adventuring out west and it breaks down, there'll always be an old one of these kicking around that you can get parts from, or there'll be mechanics that know how to pull these things to pieces and put them back together again. So just a fantastic bike for doing this sort of thing on. So what this is here is an old loading ramp. A flatbed truck would back up to those 3 logs, and that would enable it to be able to unload and offload whatever's on the back of that truck. So typically livestock, cattle, that sort of thing, or machinery. Oh shit! Oh, I ran straight into him. I'll get you off there, bud. Oh, there he goes. Sorry, mate. Alright, well, we're as far as we can go by road, by motorbike. So, time to pursue on foot into that scrub. Alright, we'll check this map. Yep, not too far off now. Alright, here we are. This is that lagoon, a little dam, or whatever you want to call it. Let's have a look at this little bearded dragon down here hiding in the water, having a bit of a cool off. There he goes. Alright, well, I got my homemade tarp all set up over here. So I've made this. Today we're going to be making a waterproof tarp out of a bedsheet. And what we're going to do is we are going to treat this with paraffin wax and paraffin oil. And we're going to melt the two together. I've got a fry pan which is heating up, some water. Then I have a pot within that water, and it's going to melt. We're going to melt the wax and the oil together in a ratio of 1 litre of paraffin oil per 2 kilograms of wax. One paraffin wax mixed with paraffin oil block. Okay, it's coming along pretty nicely. It's all melting in there. I just learned that I think the best thing to do is just to crumble it up and then rub it in with your hands and then run the iron over it. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. This is just a normal cotton bed sheet that's been treated, and that water is just beating up and just running along that, and it's not soaking in at all. It's just running along it. So that's really quite waterproof. It's worked really well. Yeah, really happy with that. Yeah, that's how you can make a cheap waxed waterproof tarp. Right, we can't have a fire because it's state forest. Just brought my little cooker along. Make a cup of tea and cook up a snack. So what's pretty cool with these little gas cookers is you can still light them with a ferro rod. So you just get the gas going. There we go. Alright, so what I'm going to cook up next is some popcorn. If you've got yourself a billy when you're out camping, just throw a little bit of oil in the bottom. So you want to put just enough oil in there to cover the kernels and just enough kernels to make a layer 1 kernel deep on the bottom. And then you've got to make sure you've got a lid, and away you go. So you can hear that boiling away in there. You want to give that a good shuffle. And there they go, hear them pop them. Once they start going, you just keep going until there's no more popping noises. You reduce the heat once they start going. Oh, check it out. Okay, you probably turn it off at that point. There we go. Fresh popcorn. Giddy up. Hell yeah, check that out. Popcorn in the belly. Oh yeah. That's good popcorn. That's a nice easy snack to bring with you. I like to bring a bit of salt as well. Try a bit of salt on there. Oh yeah, that's a go. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, it goes so good with a cup of tea. What also goes good on a bit of popcorn is some chili flakes. Yep, that's pretty good. Oh, that's a good snack. Yum. Moment of truth. Yeah, just not the right spot. Just the water's too clear. Yeah, whenever you see a spot that's got all these reeds around it, it's never got much luck for yabbies, I don't think. They like the brown water. They like to be able to hide. Yeah. Oh well. Yep. That's okay. It's hard to tell when you're looking at an aerial view whether a water hole's going to be suitable or not. You just have to get out there and check them out. All right. Well, I packed camp up. No luck with the yabbies today, but that's all right. The main thing was just an excuse to go on an adventure. Just an excuse to pick a point on a map and try and get to it, which is what we accomplished today. And yeah, ended up in a nice spot to come and visit. So yeah, all right. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.